recent jams on the way to callbacks today are "Oh, I need you bad as a heartbeat, bad as the air I breathe. I need you bad, I can't take this bad." So my callback went really well, thankfully, compared to my audition. I basically did the thing memorized, and I actually cried during my callback, which doesn't necessarily take place at that part in the script, but I feel it's good to at least show what you're capable of emotionally. And we didn't have quite enough time to do all the callback scenes, so I only did one callback scene, and we only got to get through it one time, but it was with an actor I've worked with before, and I think we had good chemistry for it, so hopefully that went well, and we might be getting a phone call in the next hour or so from the director if we got the part or not, so we shall see. I just made it to my night job after callbacks, and that's really reminding me of when I did You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, and my routine for a few months was me going to my restaurant job, then going to rehearsal, and then having to go to the food store to get dinner because everything was closed when I was finished. So I'm continuing the theme with, of course, the donuts and a little, but don't tell me. So it is almost 11 p.m., at which point the lights turn off in my building because it's so late that they think nobody's here. But I have still not gotten a phone call from the director about Dog Sees God, so I'm guessing either they're running late with deliberations or I did not get cast, in which case, that is totally okay. It just means if I was not meant to be in this play, at least at this time, it was not meant to be. That's totally fine.
They didn't end up doing any... What do you want? They didn't do any phone calls for casting last night, but I woke up to an email saying that I got cast as Beethoven in the play, which is great. That means I need to learn a lot of piano music, but I think today I will buy note cards and start writing out my lines so that I can memorize them ahead of time. Looking forward to it. What are you doing?
Honestly, he's just been playing with that shoelace for like a good 20 minutes without me interacting at all, and it's been great, because he's just been distracting himself.
Well, let's recap on everything that's happened so far with the show. We had a read-through yesterday, and I was late with a Starbucks coffee in my hand because I had to drop somebody off right before I had to get to the rehearsal. And they're having rehearsal in a building I'd never been to on a campus that I've only been on once for the audition and once for the callback. But it's fine because somebody else was like an hour late, so I was only like 3 minutes late. Read-through is great. Everyone seems really cool. They're all people that I could see myself being friends with, so that's awesome. I think because the first play that I did in Washington, everyone was either way older than me or way younger than me. And then the second show I did had a lot of kids in it, so this is cool to be around like-aged people. I see one of the actors, she does poetry downtown. I've seen her perform before. And then the lead in our show was the lead in another show that a friend of mine was in, so I went to go see it. And he was really good in that, so it's cool that we actually have a lot of scenes together. I wrote out flashcards for all of my lines, and then we had our first rehearsal today, and they did some sort of acting exercise where we were supposed to like walk like our characters and imagine a grid and on the ground of where different set pieces were, and there was music that we had to walk in the tempo of, and then we had to interact with the other characters in the scene. And I don't know if I did a very good job because I'd never done anything like that before. Even though I'm an awkward person, I still kind of embarrass easily around people that I think are cool and I don't really know that well, which should be everyone in the show so far. It was a great rehearsal. I didn't want to film anything at rehearsal because that just doesn't seem in the spirit of this process that they're doing. This is like a legit thespian process that I have not done before. They're bringing in people. Like, there's an intimacy coach for, like, scenes where I have to be intimate with another character. And then there's someone choreographing a dance sequence in part of the show. So it's cool that they're bringing so many people in for this. I have to learn a lot more piano for this than I did when I was in A New Brain 3 years ago.
Frogs have so much spring within them. Jump, frog, jump. Jump so high, split your tights.
So we'll see how that goes. But I am beyond thankful for the opportunity, and I'm really excited because this is one of my favorite plays, and I really like the character that they cast me as. I'm headed out for our Saturday rehearsal, which is one with an intimacy coach. It's all the romantic scenes I have with someone in the show, and I don't know why, I'm just feeling really nervous. And I usually wear this thing that my parents gave me when I feel nervous about stuff. Hello, welcome back to my closet. It's always exciting having rehearsal for Dog Sees God, because at least the group that I'm with, every single day we're doing something that's new to me that I've never tried as far as theater goes. They have some very enlightening warm-ups. And today what we were doing was the director brought in an intimacy coach to help us with all of the scenes involving physical contact. There would be scenes where I actually I kiss a man in the show quite a bit. And I was a little bit nervous about today just because I wasn't sure what all we were going to be doing. It was a very interesting exercise that we did today where Sarah, who actually works at another college separate from Gonzaga where we're doing the show, she works at Eastern where I do all the student films. She came in and she was telling us that we had to close our eyes and visualize this portal or this door or this threshold or something. And when we step through that, everything that we're thinking, the way our body's feeling, our past experiences, our feelings, they all stay behind. And we are now in the space to work. And it sounds kind of silly, but it actually was very helpful because I was still feeling quite a bit sore from, I was doing combat scenes for my friend's director's reel, which involved me getting slammed against walls and thrown on the floor. I haven't had any real rehearsals with the main character of the show. That's played by an actor named Carson. We haven't really acted much together prior to rehearsal today, and he's the one that I share almost exclusively all of my stage time with. So it was me, him, Denny, who plays the bully in the show, and Evelyn, who is one of the girls in the show. One of the other actresses, Molly, wasn't able to make it today. We played music in the background, and then we were instructed to pair up with somebody else. So at first it was just me and Evelyn, and we were told to, every time that she says a beat or snaps or claps or something, I don't remember how it went, we were supposed to make a different pose around one another or have some sort of contact with someone, whether it's a hand on the shoulder or leaning against their back. And then sometimes they'd throw in a word like sensual, and that would affect the way that you interact with these people. And then as we kept going with the exercise, we started to become our characters. Denny definitely understands this exercise better than I do because he has worked with Sarah in the past before. So I learned a lot by experiencing the exercise with him. We started interacting as a group, like we were all placed on this giant spool kind of looking wheel in the middle of the room, and we had to keep interacting with each other. And then she'd say something like, "You have to exclude Matt," which is Denny's character, or you have to keep looking at Matt, something like that. She kept giving me instructions, and it was very enlightening, and it informed me a lot as far as my character and motivations and all that stuff. And it sounds kind of like new age hippie, but it was actually very cool, and it helped break the ice a little bit. Denny and Evelyn went home, and then it was just me and Carson working on our first and third scenes together, which involved kissing, which it seemed like the director wanted to postpone that until after winter break, but Sarah's like, we should just rip off the band-aid. So we went ahead and we sort of acted out our scenes, and I'm already memorized at this point in time, so that made it a little bit easier for me. And then more so than the actual moment of kissing in those scenes, we were focusing on everything that led up to it, and it was very exciting to have Sarah around, because she had a lot of very smart insights onto what's happening in the scene. And a big thing was there's a point where consent was not given to my character. That totally changed the way that I was reading the scene from how I practiced it in my head. It was more fun to actually rehearse the scene than to just be by myself practicing my lines at home, and to get all that immediate input and then building the moment as we kept going. So it was a very exciting day. I'm getting pretty darn good at the first song I have to play on the piano, and Moonlight Sonata, we got a ways to go. I'm supposed to be learning a very difficult one called Revolutionary Etude, which I haven't started yet, but I hope the director, Sid, doesn't hate me. I started learning a song by Pink on the piano, which actually I feel like has a lot to do with what my character is going through. I'm having a great time learning a musical instrument again. I haven't been able to really practice an instrument for the last few years because my trumpet is in Pennsylvania, but I'm having a great time, and it's emotionally uplifting to me, especially since there are things that happened to me a couple years ago when I first moved out here that I recently had to deal with the emotional weight of those things now, and I didn't realize when I auditioned for this play that I was gonna have to confront those that emotional baggage again. But I'm feeling maybe 1% or 2% better every day, so I'm very thankful for that opportunity for growth. And I really feel like I have a big responsibility to represent the people that relate to my character in this show authentically and in a way that will help them heal from past wrongdoings. Too bad that I can't film at rehearsal, because I feel like that would sort of violate the sanctuary of the place, the physical place where we're building these scenes and investigating our characters and our motives and all that stuff. It's just, it's the bee's knees, so take my word for it, it's great. Okay, bye. Just call me motherfucking Beethoven.
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster.